Welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. If you're thinking about going abroad to find, meet up with, or marry a foreign woman, there are a lot of different aspects of this subject to consider. It is not as simple as it is made out to sound.
I'm 53 and single, therefore is there opportunity for marriage-minded women there? I can't think of a wider berthed question than, are there marriage-minded women? What woman's not marriage-minded? Okay, excuse me.
Especially the young ones, and there's a lot of them in Ecuador.
It's possible, Mark, that you're comparing your prospects to North America. We have to guess he's from the U.S. Mark asked about the prospects of marriage-minded women in Ecuador. And of course, it's a question with a very wide berth, and I have to try to read between the lines. I don't really like to do that. Guys, I really prefer if you specifically ask in detail what you really mean. But I'm going to guess that he's wondering, because most retirees are older, whether as an older man he has prospects to find a marriage-minded woman. Remember that finding the proper mate is not an exact science, and it really depends on you. Especially when you're older, you know, it's assumed that you've gained a certain amount of wisdom and age, hopefully, and you're able to see through some of the scams. Like, you know, if somebody you just met starts asking for money, you know, that kind of thing. You can generally tell if someone has general affection towards you or not. You know, just little things like that. But yeah, sure, I mean, an older guy can always marry a younger woman, but caveat emptor, you know, because the motivation, I mean, what young woman doesn't want a young man? Hello. So yeah, you're seen as a covering, a financial covering, which is nothing wrong with that. And yes, I'm not going to say, yeah, come down here and women are going to jump in your lap. I'm just saying, I don't know you. There's gringos here that have married a local Ecuadorian, and if you find a good woman, then that's the whole point, isn't it? Finding a good woman. But remember, a good woman attaches herself to a good man. So that's why I said it's up to you, Mark.
We have a checklist of 5 important aspects on this subject you should greatly consider before making this very important life decision. Let's dive right into these important considerations. Number 1, a difficult and long immigration process to bring your foreign wife into the U.S. Now, we know that many U.S. expats marry abroad and they stay abroad. But let's just say you met a good Asian woman and she is everything you always wanted in a wife, and now you've decided to bring her back to the U.S. Most people do not even think about the long and bureaucratic immigration process that is happening right now in America. Americans are waiting years just to bring their foreign spouses into the U.S. We know this firsthand. Our son is going on his 5th year of going through what the government calls the legal immigration process, and he is a U.S.-born citizen, still waiting on a process that seems like it is in a standstill. Almost 5 years later, and he's still trying to bring his wonderful Ecuadorian family, our daughter-in-law and grandchildren, to America, the great USA. People don't think about all the little details that crop up when you marry a foreign woman, but when they do, these little details amount to big problems. Maybe you just think you'll stay in your wife's country forever. Well, that's fine. However, you would be committing to a position that requires you to never change your mind. What if you don't like living there? What if you get a job offer in the U.S.? What if you have to move back to the U.S. to help your elderly parents? What if you get ill and need to leave Asia or Latin America for health reasons or financial reasons? You're leaving your wife and any children you may have had now behind? Even if it's just for a few months, it can put a strain on the marriage and family. Does this make sense to you? And if any of the reasons for your return are due to an irreconcilable need to be in the USA, such as health or finances, etc., this means you'll be separated from your wife during the long immigration process so you can keep making money, so you can prove that you can support your new family in the USA. Bottom line, if you marry a foreign woman abroad and you want to bring your wife to the US, the process will take years. It does not matter which country either. Of course, everyone's situation is a little different, so we have to take that into account. But expect a long, bureaucratic haul to bring your wife to your homeland when going through the legal immigration process in the USA. Number 2, do you really know her? Dating versus being friends. Why do you think there are so many terrible love and dating scams going on in Asia right now? Why do we see so many Western men losing all of their money and everything they own to Asian women? Sometimes they are losing their life. And if you really want to meet a good woman to marry, then doing it the way most Western men do it when they go abroad may or may not be the best strategy to find a good woman. Jumping into the romantic phase before knowing the woman has the highest probability of a negative outcome. If that's you, stay tuned. You may appreciate this information. The bottom line is learning the difference between dating versus friends. If you follow this principle, you will not get dumped and heartbroken, busted and broke and swindled. There is a big difference between dating and just being friends. Dating always involves emotions, feelings, and romance, and a lot more. Just remaining friends does not involve those giddy feelings or romance or any negative emotions such as resentment and jealousy. For example, Asian women think they know what men want because there is a certain predictability there from Western men that travel there. We all know this. If she is a con woman, she will play on your emotions right away because to her, this is just another guy and another job. Con women will maneuver their way into a man's life through emotional manipulation and seduction. Once she thinks she has you, she'll begin her act of swindling you for everything you got. But if you do not react in the same manner as she does, she lost that round and you win, to put it into a nutshell. This friendship demeanor from you will throw her for a loop and she will not know how to respond. But you can give her another chance if you want. It's up to you. The main thing is to not respond to her romantic advances in the way she expects that you will, because why would you? The woman is a stranger and you don't know her. Now, we do understand how difficult it may be for an older man to resist being romanced by a beautiful younger woman. Therefore, one has to purpose it in their heart before any of this even gets started. Otherwise, many men will just succumb to the temptation to jump the gun. The only way she can get what she wants from you is if you react with the same romantic advances. Just remember that. This friends only by you may go on for days or even weeks until she finally gets tired of it and walks away from it, and she'll move on to a different Western man that she knows she can seduce, swindle, and just manipulate. By doing this, you're weeding out the bad women. If she is not a con woman, she will not romantically make advances on you, and the friendship can continue to flourish. Not all foreign women are con people, but many of them are, and this is how you just flush those bad ones out. It's an easy thing to do. You're not going to find a good woman in a bar, a nightclub, or alone on the street. Bottom line, don't get emotionally and or romantically involved until you know the lady. It's really a simple concept, and this way no one gets hurt. So now you can move on from this woman without getting hurt, emotionally, or swindled for everything you got. Number 3, she can become a feminist in the USA. Imagine the very reason why you traveled clear across the world was to find a decent marriage-minded woman, right? You married the woman of your dreams and you finally settled down in the US after spending 5 years or more trying to get her through the legal immigration system, and she now has a green card. The first thing she does is she gets a job or goes to an American university to have a career, and she meets American women at her job or the university she's attending. The unfortunate and widely known truth is that from this point, it only takes a few years for her to become persuaded into the feminist culture. Tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are, as the old saying goes. There's a lot of truth to that saying. If your woman has no foundation in her creator, then it's very likely that she doesn't know what her role or position is in the marriage. She could easily be influenced by all of the feminist propaganda that is so prevalent in the USA. And it goes much deeper than what we can explain in just one video. But your good woman starts to get bossy and bullies you around, telling you how things are going to be, and she becomes not so good anymore. Your foreign wife is now the man of the house, and the marriage ends up becoming strained and in tatters. If something goes against the foundational and established principles of marriage, like feministic views and values, the marriage can't stand up under the stress, and it shatters to pieces. Love is a verb. It takes action to fulfill love in marriage, and feministic views is the exact opposite of love. And this brings me to number 4. Did you marry the one you love? You've heard the concept that we're supposed to marry the one we love, right? But it really should be love the one you marry. When we understand the principle of commitment in marriage, it is much easier to love the person we married, because that is what commitment is. Love is the fruit of the spiritual self. So then love is respect, love is kindness, love is sacrifice, love is compromising. Love is so much fruit that the marriage is sustained by that love commitment. People often confuse love with a giddy sexual feeling, but that's lust. And most of these marriages that are based on lust, and one or both of the couples say, well, I fell out of love, end up in divorce. Why? Because they didn't fall out of love, they fell out of lust. They never loved the one they married, period. In a nutshell, if your marriage is starting out on a rocky foundation because you married the one you thought you loved, there will be absolutely nothing to keep it together as one flesh marriage. Number 5. So, this brings us to which countries have the best ladies. I'm just laughing. This is like saying which countries are the best to live in. It's an opinion, right? Some people say that the Philippines make for good women because they are respectful of their husbands and take care of their man. Well, we agree. That's a good foundation for marriage. But because there is such a draw for Western men to go to the Philippines and other Asian countries to find a good woman, they also have more dating and marriage scams. So you have to be aware of those scams and only go into the relationship with the friendship principle we talked about earlier. Now, Ecuador has good women too. We know this firsthand because we have been blessed with a wonderful Ecuadorian daughter-in-law. She's a good wife, good mother, and she loves God, and she is a blessing to our family. But not all Ecuadorian women are good women. All right.
right, so this question is about a girlfriend that may or may not be a scammer. See what you think. So Robert G says, "Hola, Frank and Angie. I've been watching your blog for months because I was engaged to a woman in Quito for 18 months. I broke it off 4 months ago because she never wanted me to come visit in Ecuador. Only vacation to another country." Okay, so she said, "Don't come to visit me in Ecuador, just we'll meet over there, some other country, and we'll have a vacation." Well, that's a red flag. She doesn't want you to see what's going on over there in her hometown, or doesn't want somebody in her hometown to see what's going on, or she wants to keep something from you. And of course, stupid me, I sent her about 11K in cash and language CDs and engagement and wedding rings. Ouch! To find out she's in another relationship. She has agreed to mail the rings and possibly the CDs, but has no money to send to the United States. Well, that's suspicious. Do you really believe that? I don't want to send her any more money to ship. Hey, I don't blame you on that one. Any help would be appreciated so much. Thank you. You know, I sent you a private message on this, but I wanted to do this to let people see that, I mean, here's what happens to people. They want something really bad, and something seems to be developing that meets their ideal, their ideal picture in their mind of what they would like to see manifest appears to be developing for them. But then it turns out to be fool's gold. Anytime you talk about things like this, look, the thing is that you expose yourself to this kind of thing by how you do it. Sending cash, money, valuables to someone you've only met online, 99.9, probably 100% chance you're getting scammed. So that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not saying it's not possible to meet your soulmate or the woman of your life or your dreams or whatever, but the way it's done, clearly that's important. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to show people what happens to people that don't practice diligence in what they do when it comes to these kind of offshore matters. So yeah, this kind of thing happens a lot in these offshore, let's call it circles. Like guys do this, they meet Filipino women online, or it doesn't matter, Filipina, Ecuadorian, Mexican, it doesn't matter, Panamanian, it doesn't matter. The principle's the same. You're meeting somebody online, and people can manifest themselves to be whatever they want online. And I know that doesn't sit with what you would like to happen, but so what's the solution? There's a good way to look at it is to, meet people online, but don't send them any money. And then go down there and do things face to face and get a real feel for it. But otherwise, you're opening yourself up. And I'm sorry to see your loss there. You know the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So.
Now, there are numerous scams, so you have to be aware and put up your antennas and really analyze and discern the situation. So again, use the friendship principle that we talked about earlier so you do not get hurt, swindled, or scammed for everything you got. There are lots of aspects to think about before a person gets involved with anyone, but the principle to remember is this. If you want a good woman, you have to be a good man. It's a simple concept and it works. One thing that comes to mind with that is do not be unevenly yoked with unbelievers. All right, everyone, we hope you found this information interesting today. It's probably not what you wanted to hear, but that's what we have for you today. If you want more of this, our marriage ministry link is below this video in the description. Take care, be a good spouse, and bye-bye.